Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the free-to-play account, and we're going to be doing kind of a 2025 beginner's guide. So we've gotten to chapter 16. So we were in 13 yesterday, already up to 1632 today. This is the point that AFK Arena really does start. This is where everything starts to open up in the game. So I want to run through here, kind of show you what we're looking at. And of course, this is due to Rendell. So right off the bat, when you look, when we used to have carries, we used to have Chimera, and then we moved to Damon. At this point, Rendell is the carry. So a lot of players really stress that they haven't been able to make progression or it's very hard. Rendell in combination with Ivan are the two heroes that you really want to focus on. You can see we're actually getting them up a little bit further, all the way up to this 160 is where we're going to go. Now, the way to do this, and looking at it systematically, is usually you're going to have two heroes that are going to be the carry. Right here, we have Rendell, and then we do have Naruko. These are going to be the two heroes that we're focusing on. You could do Rendell and Ivan. You could do a couple other heroes. But overall, you're going to have two heroes. And to get the heroes, you're going to keep the heroes at a absolute max level all the time. So since we leveled him up, the next one we're going to focus on is getting enough of our essence to actually build out Naruko. When we build out Naruko to 160, then it will be kind of going through and building all of the other heroes back up to the 140 and systematically going through that, making sure the two primary heroes that are going to be carrying your entire campaign progression are going to be max level at any time. Which also means when you look at the investment, we're putting all of our insignias in here. We're putting pretty much everything in here to build this hero out specifically, which is the reason why we can progress so fast. I mean, we went through probably about 12 or 13 chapters within a day. And then, of course, day number 2, which we did have a little break due to vacation. But when you start looking at day number 2, this is how we're building it. Now, you'll also notice that we're going in here. We're using all of these materials. We're using everything to enchant the heroes. Again, as a main carry, let's save these two legendary pieces. I want to make sure that no one else can wear them. But as a main carry, as a hero that is going to carry the progression through the campaign stages, they have to be your strongest. They have to be gear-wise, signature item-wise, level, even looking at rarity, even looking at the advancement. They have to be your strongest heroes. Now, of course, the rest of these are at 120, and you'll get to a point where you'll notice when you look at just an elite hero is capped at level 100, cannot make any more progression. Then you start getting into an elite plus hero right here, max ascension level reached. They can only go to 120, which means these heroes at a point would have to go up to legendary, which of course can go above 120. And then when you start getting further into the 140, the 160, you do have to increase the ascension level of the heroes themselves to continue their progression. Now let's run through a couple other things that we're seeing. Of course, campaign progression, you can see we're at 15-4. We went through all the way through 15, a lot of diamonds out of this, a lot of completion rewards out of there. And I'm wondering exactly where our diamonds are going to be at. Own a 150 hero, which we have. There's a 160 hero. We kicked it up and did some of the King's Tower. Also got a couple other heroes, including our free copy of Chimera. Like I said, Chimera used to be a hero that was really a carry for a while. Not right now, not a huge carry, but that does take us to 18,000 diamonds. So we can definitely hop in here. I want to show you some summons. Now, out of the bag, this is interesting. So this is a progression chest. This is a way to actually go through and make progression a lot faster, making it a lot easier, giving you mythic gear and giving you the ability to make progression with the bounty chest. Now, in addition to that, they did give us with the codes a couple of other chests that I want to look at, and I want to kind of systematically go through because we have Draconic insignias, we do have time emblems, we have Stargazer scrolls, we have a lot of different things to actually use within here, which I want to break down if you're using the code. What does it kind of look like? So in here, anywhere, honestly, that you can get the Stargazer scrolls at this point, I would get them. Now, remember, we're not using diamonds at this point of AFK Arena to go in and do the Stargazer. We are only using diamonds to do our regular summons. And the reason being, we want the heroes that we placed on the wish list. That is going to be the big point of progression, is going in there and getting them. When we get to the point of having 3 ascended heroes, pretty much of each faction, and making progression solid in the faction towers, that is what is going to drive progression. As you can see, we unlocked the faction towers. We already went up 20 floors right here. That's all we can do. But when you're grinding progression within the towers, when you have 3 ascended heroes, you will get Stargazer scrolls out of here. You will get essence out of there. Everything you need in the King's Tower is going to come out of there, allowing you to make a lot faster and a lot more solid progression, which is exactly what we're looking to do. Again, if you go in there and you're using too many diamonds or using too many resources within the Stargazer itself, you're going to find yourself struggling to make a lot of progression because you used all your diamonds for the Stargazer. You only got 1 or 2 copies of heroes, and the effectiveness of the heroes, if you only have 1 copy, not very effective. I really wish they'd be a little bit more effective, but unfortunately at this point of the game, they are not. Now, when we get into the campaign, this is going to be the main place you're going to drive, and you're going to really, really push, because this is going to unlock everything within AFK Arena. Every single aspect that you look at in the game does come with campaign progression. Right there's 1940. Everything comes with campaign progression. And again, I want to go through here kind of systematically, take a look at it. Campaign progression is going to give you more AFK rewards. That is the big thing. You can see right here, this is what we're getting in this chapter. Next chapter, you can see we're adding a couple more things in there, and so on and so forth. When we start unlocking more and more and more of the game itself, getting to the point where we can actually utilize a lot of different things. Now, a lot of players save resources, so this is kind of a double-edged sword that we'll look at. So when you think about the ability or saving resources themselves, you could go ahead, you could save some of your resources till you make a lot more progression. If you're saving your resources for progression, chances are it's going to be a slower progression. So it's going to be kind of a little bit of a slower progression stage because you're not using your resources. But if you do happen to save them, you are going to have more resources towards the end or a little bit later that will essentially get you what you need. So my thought is we used all of our resources in here to make progression as fast as we did. And the reason being, we wanted to unlock all that AFK Arena had to offer in different game modes. That is the reason why we went in here and we made the progression that we did. Now in here, they do give us an Awakened Hero chest. Out of all of the heroes in here currently, you could get the cards. I do not recommend the cards. Now, when we think of an Awakened Hero, we're usually roughly using about 50 to 60 cards to get a copy, meaning the 20 that you're giving here for the time emblems, not really worth it. And going in here as a basic hero, I would still pick the Awakened version of Athalia. That would probably be a very solid one. You could also do Leica. Now, the difference between them, you want to add the SP effect to essentially the content you're going in, which is the reason why I do like Leica. Is she has the delay, she has the shielding, she has a couple different abilities, but it does require more copies to build her up. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to pick up our first and only Awakened hero at this point with the Awakened version of Athalia. So this is going to be the first one. We can unlock the room looking at a couple different things around here. I'm just making sure that we get and unlock everything because this is going to give you diamonds. Everything in this game gives you diamonds. The stories give you diamonds. Everything gives you diamonds. So that gives us the first and only copy of an Awakened hero we have, which is pretty early. When you think of chapter 16, get an Awakened hero at this point, pretty early. Now, right now in this account, we do have the Draconic gift. So this is up as well. Just due to the timing, most players are not going to be able to see that or won't have that up as it sits right now. But as you can see, so let's run through and see progression wise, kind of what we're looking at. So at this point, we're just going to start in the bottom. The store starts getting a lot more things, including some of the emblems as we progress. If you're looking to get and utilize diamonds, you could actually get arcane staffs out of here. I do not recommend it. Now, out of the store, out of pretty much every place in here, there is no reason to buy gear. You will get gear through regular gameplay, through progression. In here, the gear is very, very expensive. I do not recommend buying it at all. Now, Guild Shop, you can see we have access to Hildwyn. We have access to Eugene. My preference, I would get Hildwyn. That would be the first one. Again, looking at the gear in here, I would pass on the gear versus getting these heroes. Now, in addition, this will also unlock time emblems and insignias that will come into the guild store as we do progress later. Now, the barracks in here, really getting the stones. If you don't want to get the stones, you could actually go in the garrison, which we'll look at in just a minute, and get some copies of Ren. Out of the Labyrinth store, again, in here, I would save to get some of the dimensional heroes, going to make a much bigger difference. And the same with the Challenger store. The only hero really to pick up as it sits today within the Challenger store is Ulna, but I think at this point, I don't think she's in here. We do have to make more progression right here. Complete stage 2460 and refresh the store to get better equipment. Ulna is the one that you want out of here, and really the only one that is still seeing a lot more play. But like I said, with a lot of resources, players are just going in the garrison and picking up a copy of Rem. Rem, of course, a super, super strong hero. And when you can push to the point and get to the point of a second team, Rem can actually run a second team pretty well, incredibly, by herself. One or two support heroes, maybe some crowd control. You can get Rem to do some amazing things in there. Now, the Noble Tavern, we finally got to the point. The Temple of Time is open. The Stargazer room is open. And then the Noble Tavern is open. In here, let's go through. Want to run through some summons. And the wish list that we dropped in here, we actually have, when you think about utility-wise, we have Rosalind, we have Palmer, we do have Scarlet, and then we do also have Jerome in here. These heroes are the primary heroes that you're going to use for a considerable amount of time. Rowan is a great substitute for a lot of these, but really when you start thinking of meta, a lot of these heroes still being used. Mauler formation, the exact same thing. Honesta, not used as much. You could probably put like a Villanelle in there. We have Vika in here, we have Goran, Brutus. We did get a copy of Brutus, so we can drop that out. Thinking of damage-wise, thinking of utility-wise, probably putting in like a Crescio in there, again, as a damage dealer. You could also do Salakai just as a support, thinking of the Mauler Tower itself, but we can go ahead and put Crescio in there. Now, Wilder Tower, even thinking again, meta, Aethys is being used. Also in here, Misha is being used as well. We're seeing Nevi in some parts. We're seeing Leica at least with one copy. But again, meta-wise, we're seeing Tamaris in some parts, but not a lot. And then Greyborn Rendell is being used, even Lady Simona being used a little bit, but dropping out probably a hero like Grez, we can drop in Lady Simona. And then a lot of these, like I said, not a ton of utility and a ton of meta formations or even formations in general when it comes to the rest of the heroes. But honestly, Mauler, you want Ivan, you want Rendell are the two that are really, really big when it comes to making progression. So hopefully we can get lucky with a summon in here. Love to see a couple more elites, but we still do need food as well as some Greyborn summons. And then we'll get into our Stargazer, and there is Ivan, guys. Finally, we have gotten that copy of Ivan. We need him as our shield. Really, really important to have with the carry. That, of course, is going to make a big difference when it comes progression-wise. But let's see if we can get one more copy out of these summons. Now, of course, our companion points doing the exact same. Companion points and the regular common scrolls do offer the ability to get some of our awakened heroes. Now, we haven't pulled any yet, even though we got the awakened version of Athalia. There is a copy of Trishea. All right, 11,000 more diamonds in here. And again, this is the point that you're going to use your diamonds. There's a copy of Aethys. That is going to be a major upgrade. A second elite right there, which is Scarlet. And we got one more after this. Maybe it's going to be another elite. And it is not. So unfortunately, one on the table. Again, Greyborns are going to be the faction that you're going to be pushing with. There is another copy of Rendell. Absolutely, we'll take that. All right, so a lot of players kind of question in here, if you want to really make progression, at this point, you could put like an Ivan or you could put a Rendell in here to build them up a lot faster. This is what, again, players have done to make progression. So I think I'm going to drop him in here. I do not advise this for newer players. I advise going in and probably getting your copies of Liberta, starting that off. But again, thinking progression-wise, getting some copies of Rendell. And of course, this is going to give us a copy right there, right off the bat. So we do get an early copy of him, which gives us, I believe, 2 already. Thinking about getting the hero to Ascended, thinking about unlocking the desired hero summons. That is the reason why we're really pushing the hero. So we have 1 right here. We do need another Legendary Plus, which we're definitely pretty close on. But then again, looking, we need 2 more copies of Rendell itself to get him up to Ascended. And we could see a very early Ascended. Let's hop in here and use up the rest of these cards. See, again, if we could get lucky with maybe another copy. There's a Wilder card. Boom, copy number 3, and a lot of resources out of here. It's pretty crazy, the amount of resources that you do get out of this game mode. And again, I would probably traditionally go in here and get that copy of Liberta. But if you are going in here and using the Stargazer just to pull some single copies, and then in here, this is, again, another place that we are going to be looking for the awakened version of Athalia. This is going to be the primary one that we're looking for. And unfortunately, not one. But look at this. We did get a Mythic Variety chest. That is going to give us the ability to get Rendell some additional gear, as well as everything else that we have progression-wise to use this and essentially build this out a little bit further. More gold, more resources. Let's pop open these cards. There's a copy of Golas. There's a copy of Ruspin. Again, going to yield us 100 diamonds in there. And I'm pretty impressed with how fast, again, This progression really does grind through here. Didn't get any Graveborn cards in there, but we've used all of those. Now, of course, again, thinking game-wise, let's hop into the Beast Ground. Let's look at this. Now, this is the point wish list-wise. Remember, we want to build the Owl. The Owl is a major one to build. Slumbering Seal is another one that is super important to build right off the bat. And then Panda. These are the three that we're going to look. We have 316, so let's go ahead and lure these. See if we can get some more copies. And as you notice, we're also getting the copies of the regular ones that we get. So 16 more in here. So unfortunately, no copies of Beast in there, but that's okay, because we did also get a few copies of these. We'll go ahead and level these up a little bit. Again, utility-wise, a couple different places. When we start getting into multiple teams, it does make a big difference. Didn't get lucky with those overall. And then, of course, the library, we do have the Elder Tree, buffing this up a little bit further, almost at 15 at this point. Field of Stars, still getting to the point of unlocking all of that. And then the Dragon Isle. So I want to hop in here. I want to do some summons. Now, thinking of wish list wise, this is really the wish list. When you look at Scion, when you look at Meleon, when you look at the heroes in here and having it filled out, I'm not pulling for Polina, but we'll do one summon. And the reason being, we just want to get the cards, get some resources out of here. And of course, Dragon Heart Temple, we have 84 and we have the discounted summons. In here, I'm almost thinking to just come in here and get those copies of land. Hildwyn, we're going to build eventually, but here is our new hero. And you know what? Let's see what we get. Let's see what these discounted summons. Now, the big thing with this is I want to get these. I want to get the resources. I want to get the resource packs. I want to be able to build a lot of other heroes that are coming, or resources that are coming out of this game mode. I would love to see the diamonds. That would be kind of crazy. But again, thinking of utility with the latest and the newest hero in here, they're going to take a long time to build. And there is our first copy. So we do unlock the first copy of our Draconic hero, which of course we did have the trial version for a while. So it's funny because just like the trial version, that's exactly what we're using. We had the trial version at Legendary. We just got another copy of the hero at Legendary. So utility wise, I feel like that is going to work. Let's use our last 6 in here. All right, so Draconic wise, we got our 1 copy. And again, we had 84 even with the discounted. That's about normal. The Draconic heroes are just incredibly expensive. But again, if we're sitting on a ton of resources, it's going to be a lot slower with progression. In here, look at this. We're getting 12 chests at a 24 hours. This is a lot of resources. Another 6,000 resources for progression in there. And that is honestly how we're making progression within here so incredibly fast. Even here, another level goes on there. Then, of course, we have more than enough to get this hero up to our 160. 160 max ascension for the Legendary Plus, which means we still need to get everyone above that 140 mark. We can come in here and build up, I believe, 2 more heroes all the way up to that 140 mark. Max Ascension C, we're going to have to build these up a little bit further. We're going to have to start getting a lot more of these heroes up to the Legendary or Legendary Plus. Elite Plus is already capped at this point. But again, looking at these 2 heroes, guys, that is a crazy amount of progression. Even looking at Stargazing 30 times, so there's some more stones. Get some more resources, get some more blue stones out of there. More heroes over and over again. Again, looking for our resources, our essence. And they have made this a lot faster to get through. I mean, like I said, we're roughly probably gameplay-wise, probably about 2 days, a little over 2 days in. I feel like with the addition of Naruko, with Rendell, with everybody else, we can definitely make some more progression in here. Now, in addition, there are a few places that unlocked, like I said, progression-wise, that we want to look at, and especially early progression. Number 1, Ghoulish Gallery. Get to the point, farm the Ghoulish Gallery out in its entirety. We have 5 more refreshes. We are starting to build this up a little bit further. We're not buying any perk cards, anything like that, because this is totally free to play. But getting collections out of here, even if you get bad collections, most of them are better than the regular collections. And this also unlocked the Thrilling Voyage. So we did go in here, Thrilling Voyage. This gives you access to all of the heroes completely built. Getting in here and making progression in here is relatively easy. Going through there, making sure you farm up all of your Voyage of Wonders. Legendary Epic, unfortunately, you can see we can't go through these yet because we do not have those except the Blade Hunt. We finally do with our first hero. giving us more cards and giving us more ability to build future heroes. So again, that's going to be something you definitely want to farm and want to make progression in. Same with the Peaks of Time. When you think of Essence, Peaks of Time is huge with the Essence. Farming out the King's Tower every single day makes a really, really big difference. So overall, pretty impressed with how much progression and how fast, again, that we're kind of just burning and churning through levels within here. It's kind of crazy how fast, again, 1632 with some newbies, with some levels, additional levels in here. Even thinking, I think Aethys we got a little bit better. But let's go through and see who we can build. So we got double copies of Scarlet. We do have a little bit of food in here. So Scarlet, big damage dealer, but I'd probably save it for Palmer. And I know Rowan, we also got a couple copies as well. Lightbearer, I'm going to sit tight on. So in here, Naruko, we do need another legendary copy, which we only have one right here. So not going to be able to build up Naruko any further. In here, we did build up Aethys a little bit. We do have double copies right there. So he is actually another one that I do want to take up. Because again, we know we're going to focus. Historically, you can wait, you can save on the builds, you can make sure that you have enough essentially to build him up. But we know we're going to build him, which is the exact same with Rendell. We have 1, 2, 3, what do we have? 4 here? And we have double copies here. You know what? This is going to give us enough to build up. There's Legendary. There is Legendary Plus. That's the skin. So that does give another copy for Rendell, taking him to Mythic Plus. So essentially 2 days getting him to Mythic Plus is, again, a little bit crazy in there. We can hop in here into the Rickety Cart. We can actually, let's reset Palmer in this one. And then I'm going to go ahead and we are going to level up Aethys. Oh, we have to take him out of the Resonating Crystal. Resonating Crystal, this will be your best friend. When you start opening up new slots or more slots, you can see these are on the cooldown. The reason being, I've been rotating heroes in there through the Resonating Crystal to go ahead and build out and make make progression within the faction tower. So that gives us 160, 160, 140, 140. And then, of course, we can drop another hero in here, which I don't know. Let's open up. Oh, we don't have enough. I'm going to say, let's get one more slot and throw this hero in there, which we could. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have to reset. Essentially, let's go in here. And again, because we're not building up Scarlet right now, I'm going to reset Scarlet as well. Then we can take one of our legendary heroes. And we could do, you know what? I'm going to do Athalia. Do Athalia to 120. So we are a little bit shy right there with what we have progression-wise. Little bit shy, but that's okay. Because now we have 160, we have 120. Just have to get her, again, a little bit more essence and we can build her up. Which, honestly, I'd probably swap her. Because right now, I'm going to have to figure out what's going to work. Because we're not using him right now, I almost think that's going to be a good swap here just to build him up. Because I don't want to take him to 140. I want to take him to 120. I wish I could just set what level I want him to go to. Because again, I can sit and I can have him kind of just wait for essence. But at the same time, we can also build up Athalia a little bit higher. We can get Athalia built up to that 140. Yeah, and I feel like with that SP effect, that's going to make a big difference with that SP effect. Oh, I skipped to the wrong hero. That's okay. We can just hop in here and reset the 5 levels we added there. And this hero is going to go up. And again, we're going to go to the 120, stop there. So there we go. The 120, 140, 140, 160, 160. Now, the big thing, like I said earlier, is when you start looking at the formations in here and getting these heroes built up a little and adding Athalia, this adds the SP effect. So every 5 Sacred Blades she receives permanently increases damage dealt by physical peers of her allied heroes. When an allied hero receives a control effect, the taker receives damage and is unable to recover energy. That is why early game SP effects really do make a difference. When it comes to making progression, it does make it a lot easier with those SP effects. And of course, getting Athalia just to do some damage, just to even take some damage on this side, makes a big difference. It does make a really big difference with the damage that she can put out. And I want to see exactly where she's at. Just single copy at Legendary, which we know Rendell being at now Mythic Plus. going to make a big difference. But I mean, 86, 354, so definitely needs a little bit more of a build in there, but I'm happy with where we are. And again, getting that SP effect for everyone else, being able to make some more progression in here. Going to be grinding this out. And again, looking at how much we have, how much progression we made, it's pretty impressive. So, all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.